Alright, hello class. Normal part 1, welcome back. I know, maybe you missed a video on Friday, maybe you missed seeing me, or you don't really see me, but missed, getting the lesson. We had a quiz on Friday. I know quizzes was new, it was different without partial credit. You can see that never think that what quizzes give you, and I know Ms. Creasy kind of sent this out, that's not your final grade. The final grade is the grade I put in RunWeb, so please, I want to say that first off. I know there were a few mistakes, and some of you emailed me about that. Thank you for staying patient with me. If you ever catch that or I make a mistake, please let me know. I know it's new for me too. So thank you for being patient with me. And thank you guys for all your hard work last week. So we continue with our teaching from a distance, teaching online. So we actually have 2 more sections in this unit. So kind of like a layout for the rest of the week. We're going to learn 5.10 first actually, because we're going to use this skill in 5.10 to do something in 5.9. So we're going to do 5.10 today. We're going to learn this thing called factoring by grouping. So we're learning all different types of factoring. We're actually going to put all those in together after this next test. What we're going to do is we're going to learn 5.10. Then we're going to learn 5.9 tomorrow. So we're going to learn 2 lessons over the next 2 days. Then I will do a review on Wednesday. And this is your time between like now and Wednesday, now that you know that's coming, to ask questions about, about these sections, about maybe about the quiz. I will put a answer key to the quiz probably tomorrow, possibly today, but probably tomorrow, probably Tuesday, but possibly I'll post it later today, so you guys can see the mistakes you made. And just, I know there was 2 questions. There was 1 question that was not factored, but I won't put it on there. I'll just put the questions that I know that you should that I want you guys to look over, and then finally. So we'll have a test Thursday. So it'll be 5.10, 5.9, review, test Thursday. So our test, which will still be on that same platform, quizzes, will be on Thursday. Just make sure, I know you only get 5 minutes, make sure you are sure about your answers. Remember, you cannot go back, okay? So that's everything. That's kind of like my overview of the week. And Friday, of course, we'll move on to the next lesson. All right? So tonight, again, for your attendance, you have homework. I'm trying to keep you guys in that regiment. So I like you guys to get practice after we learn it. So you have notes to go along with this lesson. And you have homework to do, which is kind of connected to it. But I want you guys to see, can you do it all on your own? You're going to have something to try on your own lesson. You're going to have something to try on your own homework. So it gives you plenty of practice. So hopefully you're experts at it by the time you're done today. All right? So let's get right into it. All right, so I'm going to do the first 4 with you guys. It's going to get repetitive, but I'm going to kind of explain it. And then we are going to, you guys are going to try the last, I think it's like 5 on your own, and then, or 4, 5 on your own, and then we're going to come together and I'll go over them. All right? Like we would do in class, sort of. All right, let's get started. All right, I'll put the camera real quick. All right, so number 1. Number 1 is going to look like this in your notes, all right? So number 1, alright, I hope you guys can see this, is going to be RS plus 5R, I'm going really slow, sorry, plus ST, that's an S, plus 5T. Okay guys, please keep this in mind that that is an S and this is a 5, okay? Don't be confused. Goodness knows I choose S's, 5's, alright? Alright, so we're going to factor this by grouping. So how do we do that? What is that? Alright, so factoring by grouping, first off, it's always when you see 4 terms. If I'm looking at a test and all types of factoring on there, and I see a problem with 4 terms, I should automatically think factoring by grouping. Okay, well, grouping means we're going to group some stuff together, okay? Here's what we're going to do, okay? So we're going to group. So how do you factor by grouping is you're going to group the first 2 numbers and the last 2 numbers, okay? That's how you're going to start out. We're actually going to use this in 5.9. That's why I have to teach this first. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the greatest common factor in the first 2 numbers. They don't have any numbers in common, but they both have an R, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an R out. And then what I have left, I take away an R, so I'll have an S. I'll take away an R, I'm left with 5. So S plus 5. Alright? Now this is what I'm doing. I'm finding the greatest common factor. So I'm not going to re-explain that. We know how to find the greatest common factor, but that's what you're doing out of each grouping. I'm going to do the same thing here. They don't have any numbers in common. This is an S, not a 5. But they both have a T, right? So I'm going to take a positive T out. When I do that, I'm left with S plus 5 once again. Okay, well what do we see here? Okay, I see I have a positive R here and a positive T here. And in 2 sets of parentheses, I have S plus 5, S plus 5. Look at that right there. These are the same. Alright, so this is the key, guys. When you're doing factoring by grouping, those should always be the same. Like this s plus 5 here. When I take my greatest common factor out, what's left in the parentheses for each one should be exactly the same. That is key. Alright? So then, once I do that, how do I finish my factoring? Remember, my factoring is 2 sets of parentheses. So I have 2 sets, right? One of the sets, okay, is going to be my s plus 5, the thing that they have in common. Just take that once. Alright? But what is my other set? What is my other set of parentheses going to be? What it's going to be is those greatest common factors you took out. So this positive r and this positive t are going to be our other set of parentheses. So I'm going to have r plus t, and that's a plus sign, r plus t, because they're both positive, there's no negatives next to them, times s plus 5. And if I want to check my answer, if I multiply these all out, I should end up with right what I started with. So there's my answer, so I should sit with. Questions? Oh, questions, like you guys were here. Well, it's in my mind. Sorry, you guys are not here. But if you have any questions, you can always email me. So there's my first answer. Alright, so let's keep moving. So r plus t times s plus 5. And again, if I want to check my answer, multiply it by out and I get back there. Alright, so let's do the second one, alright? So again, we're going to do a couple together. You guys are going to do some on your own. Remember what I'm taking out as the greatest common factor. Again, I'm not doing that in depth because we have done the greatest common factor before. Alright, or maybe I'll do some as we go along. That one was pretty easy though. Alright, look at the next one, alright? My next one is, number 2, is u squared minus 2u plus uv minus 2v. Alright? So again, we're going to do the same thing, guys. We're going to group the first two. Group the last two, okay? So here, they don't have any numbers in common, right? This has a 1, this is a 2. But they both have a 1u, right? So my greatest common factor here is just going to be u. And what am I going to have left? Take away 1u from 2u's, I have 1u left. Take away a u from that, I just have a negative 2. Now remember, whatever my greatest common factor is out of the second grouping, it should also be u minus 2 here, okay? So let's see what happens. They don't have any numbers in common, but they both have a v. They both have a v, so I can take a v out, right? That's my greatest common factor. Alright, so when I take the v out, I'd be left with, again, u minus 2. I want to emphasize that this is what I'm finding here is my GCF. Remember that, GCF? So I'll write that here. My GCF here was u. My GCF here is v. They don't have any number in common. There's no like number. Remember we figured out the lowest power from each number they have in common. They don't have any numbers in common, but they have these two had a u in common, these two had a v in common. And see what happened again? The u minus 2s are exactly the same. That's what I want. So factored by grouping, this thing factored by grouping, I'm left with u plus v times u minus 2. There's my final answer. So again, what I'm seeing here is this is one parenthesis, positive u, positive v. That's my other parenthesis. Again, I group the first two, group the last two. Find my GCF of this grouping, find my GCF of this grouping. Take it out. When I take it out, I should be left with the same thing in this parenthesis. That's my one set. My other set is u plus v. So there you go. My second one factor. Alright? Factor by grouping. And again, I'm always going to use it when I see 4 terms. When I see 4 terms, I should think factoring by grouping. Alright? So let's do a third one. So again, hopefully you guys are getting this. I know some of the quizzes were a little off for you guys. If you guys have any questions, remember, you can always email me if you're ever confused about anything. I'm here, I'm around. I want to be there to help you guys just like I am in school. Alright? Alright, so next. Alright, so we're actually going to do 2 more, then have you guys try the last 3 on your own, alright? So the third one here, alright, we're going to have x squared minus 2xy plus 4xz minus 8yz. This one's a little bit trickier, alright? So again, I always start out by group the first two, group the last two, alright? Okay, so now, we'll find my GCF here. If it's basically, if there's a 1 here, these two are not going to have any numbers in common, but they do at least have one x in common, right? They both have x's, the lower power of x, there's x to the first. So what I'm going to take an x out. Okay, what am I left with? I have one more x left and a 2y here. So what I'm thinking is, when I take my GCF out of this, I should be left with x minus 2y. Alright, so let's see. Okay, my GCF here. Alright. Alright, well, we know 4, hopefully, is 2 squared. Like, 2 times 2 is 4. Remember, we used to break the numbers down? I can rewrite that. So let's do a little more work here. So we're just trying to find the GCF between 4xz and 8yz, right? So 4 breaks down into 2 and 2, or 2 squared. Alright. Sorry, guys. 8 breaks down into 2 to the third. Alright, so my GCF here is going to be, okay, the lower power of 2 they have in common is 2 squared. Then, they don't have an x or y in common, but they do have a z in common, right? So 2 squared z, which is going to be 4z. So what I'm taking out of each one here is 4z, my greatest common factor. So I'm going to pull 4z out, alright? Here I'd be left with x, and then here I'd be left with negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2, and then a y. I took away a z from each one. Again, what do I see here? The x minus 2y is the same. Hopefully you guys didn't get in your way. You're not the board. So this is 2 squared. This was 2 to the third. The lower power of 2 there is 2 squared. Z is like the only thing they have in common, so 2 squared, 4z is our greatest common factor. Now, when I finish factoring this out, here I have a positive x and a positive 4z. It's going to be x plus 4z. That's my first set parentheses, the numbers in front. Alright, then my other half is x minus 2y. You know, I know this is different, guys. If I multiply this back out, I end up with what I have back there. So that one, the GCF was a little bit harder to find. I'm just going to find the greatest thing that goes into both numbers. Alright, that I can take out of both numbers. Actually, not goes into, that I can take out. Alright? Yeah, we've learned to find the GCF. I'm just kind of going through it again. When I do the problems like the US at a try, I probably will not go through the whole process. Alright, so let's do one more together, and then we'll, I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to have you guys try a couple, and then of course I'll go over them whenever you guys take a pause, alright? But if you're having more trouble, you can watch one more, but I will at least try one of them before you even do the homework, just to make sure. Just to even see if, you get it. Kind of like in class. That's your chance to see, do I get it? That may be your time to, go email me for questions before you start the homework. Alright? So let's do one more together. Alright, so number 4. Alright? We have 3a to the third plus a squared plus 6a plus 2. Alright guys, so again we see 4 terms as you think, factoring by grouping. So I'm going to group the first 2, group the last 2, alright? Here, alright, they don't have any numbers in common, but I can take out an a, right? So if I do that, I'd be left with a squared. No, they actually have 2 a's in common. This is a to the third, this is a squared. So I can take out 2 a's, and when I do that, I'd be left with 3. I didn't take any 3's out, so 3. I took away 2 a's, and then I took away an a there, so it's just plus 1. Alright, so they had 2 a's in common, right? There's no numbers, but there's a 1, so you can't really take anything else out of it. But this has 3 a's, this has 2 a's. The lower power of a there is a squared, so my GCF is a squared, up to 3a plus 1. Here, okay, well 6 is 3 times 2, right? So they have the GCF here, they have a 2 in common, and that's it, right? They don't have any a's in common. If I take a 2 out, I'd be left with 3a. 6 divided by 2 is 3, the a stays, and then 2 divided by 2 is 1. My GCF here, sorry, is just a squared. So here I end up with the same thing as what I want to happen. So when I actually factor this, I have a squared plus 2 and 3a plus 1. Done. The numbers in front. And then the other set, it's the same. So now I want you guys to take a pause. I want you guys to try 5, 6, and 7 on your own. Come back when you're ready, alright? So just take a quick pause, and then come back when you're ready. Alright, so hopefully you guys are back, and you've tried at least one of them on your own. Maybe you've watched the next 2 or whatever. Alright, so let's go over the last 3, alright? So number 5. Alright, so number 5, you have u squared minus 3uw minus 3uv, sorry guys, minus 3uv minus 6uw plus 18, is it vw? Yeah. Alright, so let's see what they have in common, guys. Alright, so here what I want to do, I'm going to group the first 2, group the last 2, alright? So here, I take out a u from each one, right? So when I do that, they each have a u in common, so when I do that, I'll be left with u minus 3v. Alright? So then here, right, I can take out a so I take out, they each have 6 in common, right? I can take out a negative 6, right? And I'll be left with u minus 3v. Okay, why is that? I want to take out a negative 6 and not a positive 6. Alright, so let's just go back that for a second because I just realized I want to explain that to you guys, so that might be a little bit confusing. Okay, so first off, I know that here I can just take out a u and I'm left with u minus 3v. So again, I want to get the same thing in here, alright? So my greatest common factor here, if I factor this out, is the 6. 6 goes into 6 and 18, right? That's the greatest number that goes into both of them. So let's say I just take out a positive 6, right? When I do that, right, negative 6 divided by 6, and I know they have a w in common, right? They have a w, and then they both, 6 goes into both of them. If I just take out a positive 6, negative 6 divided by 6 is going to be negative 1u, and then 18 divided by 6 would be positive 3v. Now what the difference is, see, this is positive u minus 3v. Here that would be negative u plus 3v. What I've tried to emphasize this whole time is these need to be exactly the same. So what needs to happen here, guys, is instead of just a 6, if that doesn't work, so let's say you do that and that doesn't work, just always take the negative out of that same thing you took out. Because you're probably right. Just forgot to take, so instead of just 6, let's take out negative 6w now and see what happens. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 is positive 1, and the u comes, right? So it's just 1u, positive u, the w goes away. 18 divided by negative 6 is negative 3, the v stays, but the w is gone. Now I have the same thing. So if you get stuck like that and you take it out and it doesn't try to be the same thing, try taking the negative of that out. Okay? So once I do that, alright, I take the front numbers, right? So I take, it's going to be u minus 6w times u minus 3v. There's my answer for number 5. If you got confused on this one, that's why that was. So if that made more sense. Alright, 2 more guys, and the lesson's done for the day. We only have some homework to do, but it's crazy. Alright, so number 6, alright? So my board is a little wobbly. I'm going to try and do 6 and 7 on the same wavelength here, guys, so we can just not do any more racing. Alright, so number 6, right? Lost it. Alright, so I got 3ab minus b minus 4 minus 12a. Alright? Okay. Or plus 12a, sorry guys. Alright. Minus 4 plus 12a. Alright, so again, 4 terms, group the first two, group the last two, okay? Here, my greatest common factor would be a b, so I'd be left with 3a minus 1. So here, so I see 4 goes into both of them, right? So let's just try taking out a 4 and see what happens. I take out 4, I'd be left with negative 1 plus 3a. I know that's confusing, right guys? But if I just, this is a positive 3a and a negative 1, so I want to just rewrite this. Rewrite this as this and this is the same thing. It's a negative 1 and a positive 3a. Sometimes you don't need to take out the negative of the numbers. You have to make sure it's the same as this one. If you're sure about the first one, the second one should be the same. This is correct. So then finally, just take the front numbers. I'm left with b plus 4 times 3a minus 1. Really the key here is if you're sure about one of them, you should make sure the other one looks exactly the same. You should get one parenthesis that's the same, that's your 1. The other one of the numbers, the greatest common factors that you took out. Okay? There's your answer there. Alright, finally, one more, number 7. Alright? Can do it on the board. I want to confuse you guys. Alright, so last one. So number 7, you have 3u to the third minus u squared minus 9u plus 30. Alright, so automatically, you should automatically think 4 terms. Group the first two, group the last two, alright? So that grouping was not so good. Fix that u squared so I can actually group. Alright, so here I can just take out a u squared, and I'd be left with 3u minus 1. So here, I need this to be a positive 3u and a negative 1. So let's see, if I know 3 goes into both of them, right? If I just take out a 3, I get negative 1u plus 3, or negative 3u, sorry, plus 1. Sorry, I can't divide. Negative divided by 3 is negative 3. Now again, I am sure about this u squared. I know u squared is the right GCF for that. So I'm taking out 3 and it doesn't work. What did I just say about the other one? Take out the negative of it. So if the 3 doesn't work, alright, I should taking out negative 3. So if I take out a negative 3, right, I factor 1 out. 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3, the u stays along. 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. Aha! Now I have the same thing. So again, if the positive doesn't work, take out the negative. So when I'm done here, I take the front numbers, u squared minus 3, and then 3u minus 1. That's my answer. So again, if you guys have any questions, email me, let me know if you don't understand something, don't understand what I did. Again, I'm just taking grouping the first two, grouping the last two, taking the greatest common factor out of each grouping, making sure these are the same. That's my one half of my factor, and the other half of the numbers that are in front, my greatest common factors that I took out. So you have, I think it's like 7 problems for homework. That's your attendance today. Email that to me, and you're all set. Have a great, marvelous Monday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. We have one more lesson to learn, review, test Thursday. Have a great day.